Good evening. This is Duane Lowry for the DPP Grain Desk on Sunday, July 1st. To be honest with you, I don't even know where to start here tonight. I don't even know for sure how I should be slanting perceptions of trader viewpoints, how I should be slanting the perceptions of my own perceptions, and how I should be slanting what producer focus should be here going forward. We clearly have a weather market. We know that. We clearly have lost production potential for corn and had irreversible loss. We've suffered stress in a broad area of the Midwest, pretty much everything except the northwestern, I don't know, third or half maybe, or something of this nature. Areas of greatest production loss potential, probably Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Missouri, southwest of that area as well, the Delta. So we've certainly lost production potential. But we have to be honest with ourselves, and if we evaluate last week's price action, considering the forecast where we had times where it looked like no rain for 2 weeks, 100-degree temps, extremely excitable trader reactions, and the markets have largely stagnated. Even Friday's performance I didn't think was very good. We know that back when I kind of got bullish corn in the low $5 area basis December and talked about a rally potential up towards $5.90. I remember one day writing and talking about a $6.30 trade as being the upper end of maybe where we're going to go to. We've made these upside objectives, and yeah, it's possible we could go higher, but there's warning signs out here. Number one, we've made upside at price objectives. Number two, short chasing has been very thorough, so you don't have a whole lot more energy to come from just chasing shorts out of the market. U.S. corn is not competitive in the global pricing arena. Wheat's still going to be a drag on values. Ethanol demand doesn't work well with current price structures, so you're going to have to shave back ethanol demand under these type of price scenarios. And to be honest with you, we had no matter how much you think we've lost for yield, our starting point was projecting a carryout, at least at 2 billion bushels probably. So until you can get a projection that leads to a carryout of 800 million or less, you're probably already at high enough prices, and quite arguably could be at too high of prices already, even or until you can get below 800 million carryout. I'm not sure you can project yields at this point to fall low enough to get below that 800 million threshold. And I think that as long as you've got some demand questions here, I really question whether we have to go a whole lot higher at this time. Also, you had weekend rains that, while they certainly weren't large, if you happen to get that quarter, half, three-quarter inch rain, and you're in the northern 40 to 60% of Illinois, the northern 50% of Indiana, and most of Ohio, which is who got those rains this weekend, they're welcome. I know from our location here in Iowa that several days ago we were experiencing crop stress conditions that looked like we were going to go downhill relatively rapidly, and then we had about 4/10 of an inch of rain. Not a lot of rain, but it's been amazing to watch how well that crop has benefited from that and been able to kind of hang on. I'm not trying to imply that we don't have stressful conditions, and I'm not trying to imply that we haven't lost production potential, and I'm not trying to say that we won't lose more. What I am trying to say is, from a national perspective, I don't know if we have lost enough to get below an 800 million carryout projection. And I think that looking forward at the forecast, while it's still concerning here for the next several days, there is signs that temperatures are going to be cooling. And I think that there is still some opportunity for some scattered thunderstorm activities. So in relationship to what we traded last week in terms of forecasts and emotions, I'm not sure we've got anything that significantly exceeds that here tonight, or significantly inflames emotions. And my concern here is that we are going to make an attempt to start higher, trade higher early this week, but I'm not sure that we can sustain this. So I think from a producer's perspective, it's time to reestablish hedges that were put in place before and then lifted. It's time to extend sales if you were not very aggressively sold to begin with, and it's time to more aggressively look at 2013 sales. I think you've got some bigger macro issues here that make it this market different than we've had over the last several years, and I think we need to lower price targets to something below what recent highs have been. And everything I'm talking about here so far is pretty much focused on corn price outlook. I think soybean price situation is a little bit different. But in terms of corn, we might be higher tonight. I'm not sure it's a given that we're higher, but we're probably going to be higher tonight. But I think that to build upon last week's gains or to create any sustainability if we do probe above last week's highs, which I think is an if, I think that's in question. So I think the producer needs to be more interested in looking for places to make sales than to be excited about how much more we're going to go up. As far as soybeans are concerned, the difference for soybeans versus corn, the weather's the same, the crop stress is the same. Some will argue that it's early enough in the growing season that we haven't irreversibly lost a lot of soybean yield potential. I think for many locations that's probably true. In the worst areas, the driest areas, we've already lost some potential. The difference for soybeans versus corn, however, goes to the fundamental foundation that you had a starting point in corn where you could lose quite a bit of production and still have a plentiful supply. In the case of beans, going into this growing season, everybody thought, hey, we really can't afford to have any, type of material loss to U.S. Soybean production potential because the carryout projections are just too tight. Now, some have added on extra soybean acres, and I think there's justification for adding that, but I think there's also a justification to be concerned that, we're going to lose some of those extra acres because we're not going to have quite as many double crop acres as expected. So I think that acreage thing is still up in arms. I think whether it's right or it's wrong, I think the marketplace is going to look at soybeans and be hopeful that our irreversible loss potentials to date has been relatively minor. I'm not saying I agree with that, but I think that's how the marketplace is going to look at it for a while. And I think the technical conditions appear that we are vulnerable to some sort of a setback, but you're going to find, I got a fly floating around here. You're going to find technical support, major technical support in the 1370 area basis November beans. You're going to have technical buying begin to surface on any test of $14 again, which is not an unreasonable possibility that either one of those two could happen. But the point is you're going to have buying here on breaks. And I think fundamentals, even if we saw an improvement in weather here, I think there'd still be added caution and concern about the longer-term outlook for beans. They still worry about the month of August. So I think the bean market is well supported. I'm not sure that case can be made about corn, and I think you got greater risk of corn experiencing more of a sell-off in this time frame, or let's put it this way, over the next 30 days than you may have in beans. And if you get a spike down in beans for whatever reason, a change in forecast, long liquidation, whatever, beans will be better supported, I think, here than corn. So as far as tonight is concerned, I think it's legitimate to say calls are mixed, but I think a lot of people will be emotional and think we're going to be higher and think we're going to be quite a bit higher. I don't really agree with that, and I think if there are upside probes attempted early this week, whether that's tonight or tomorrow or both, I think you should view it with skepticism, view it with a lot of discernment, and from a producer standpoint, be looking for marketing opportunities and opportunities to capture profits. If you think your yield potential has been lost, evaluate how much you've got sold, but I'm sure that you still expect to harvest bushels, and the areas that are in the driest, they're going to have a different response to that than the areas that are not have not suffered as much. My word of caution to those areas that have not suffered as greatly is make your marketing decision on your own operations outlook, both in production and profit potential, and don't make your decision based on the perception that somebody else is going to get hurt even worse. I think you focus on your own profitability and then move forward. For the DPP Grain Desk, this has been Duane Lowry. Thank you.